You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
I don't think if I'd written it in one sitting I would have been able to get that, and it's kind of jarring, but artistically I want this to feel jarring and uncomfortable.
Hello and welcome to Freshly Squeezed, the new music podcast, a new music showcase where every week you get to discover a whole load of new music, maybe uncover someone or something that turns out to be your next favourite band. If this is your first time to the podcast, make sure you are following it so you get all the future episodes as soon as they're ready, and check out the back catalogue because there's loads of artists you may not have heard before. If this isn't your first time, but you've still not hit that follow button, make this the time you do it because there are some brilliant artists to come in the coming weeks. In fact, there's 3 brilliant artists lined up on today's podcast. We'll be hearing from the mighty Yorkshire band CRUZ about their brand new tune, More of the Same.
So I try and sing it, we know too well, the plasters, they don't know the pain. So act like you mean it, we try to change, but we know it's just more of the same.
You're going to hear more of this in a little bit from Harry Eley. Called Stop the War, that one. And we're going to hear from Issac Neilson about his brand new tune, Spiked Mind Eraser.
Don't you cry, you're so tainted, not me, spiked, dead and vacant.
And when I do speak to Issac, I need to find out a little bit more about this thing he's been doing on his Instagram page, where he announces that he's going to be playing at a local open mic club and then sees if one of his fans turns up. So far, every day, well, this is what's happened.
That was day 22. No one showed up again today. But you know what? It's been a good night. We're going to keep the streak going. The streak of no one showing up, that is. And someone will turn up. Eventually, right?
We need to dig into that a little more in a bit. But before we do that, as promised, we're going to speak to CRUZ, and we'll do that straight after we've heard a little bit of their brand new tune. It's called More of the Same.
It's late in the evening, they're waiting to play. You wanted it all, but it all got away, and she knows it. Addicted to fire, living the life of a wannabe superstar. So I try and sing it, we know too well, the plasters, they don't know the pain. So act like you mean it, we try to change, but we know it's just more of the same. This magical thinking, it's turning me on, don't know where you've got till it's already gone and it's going.
More of the Same from CRUZ, and CRUZ join me on the podcast. Sam and Tom, welcome, boys.
Thank you for having us.
So, Sheffield band and Sheffield as a city, it's got a grassroots scene that's taken a bit of a battering over the last 12 months with the iconic lead mill shutting its doors over the summer for the final time. Are you still feeling the impact of that as an up-and-coming band in the city?
I think everyone is really. It's just one of them with the whole lead mill. It was staying and then it wasn't staying. It was, shut in and we had all this with the O2 a couple of years before. I think it was something like the roof was, or the cladding, or the story changes every time. So these venues, unfortunately, and it's not through the want of like poor turnouts or anything, or people just not coming to Sheffield to play. It's just for like other reasons. So I think the music scene's taken a knock, but it's getting there.
Yeah, we lost the O2 and Lead Mill in the space of about 5 years, which were 2 quite dominant venues, which bands would come across and use that on their tour dates, which we're kind of missing out on now. So in terms of that element, I think we're missing out on that. But there's plenty of other grassroots venues that are still thriving in Sheffield.
They're stepping up, aren't they?
Yeah.
In terms of you as a band and your identity and how it bonds with the city, I think anyone who listens to CRUZ probably would take a stab that you are from Sheffield. You've got that kind of northern indie style to you, but also a band like the Arctic Monkeys, there is definitely an impression they have made on your music. And I guess it's hard in a way for a band from Sheffield who's from any city actually, same with Oasis in Manchester. If you're from a city that's got a band in it that's had a level of success like them, it must be difficult not to be influenced by their work in a certain way.
It definitely is. We're actually a uni band, so we all sort of came from all over. Like me and Sam are from Manchester way. Jamie's from Peterborough. Ethan's our token sort of Sheffield member. But I mean, how can you not be influenced by like the Arctic Monkeys and stuff like that? And Ethan's proper big on his Sheffield heritage. Like his favourite band's Milburn and that sort of era, Richard Hawley, stuff like that. So I think even though we're not born in Sheffield, three of us, but I mean,
Coming up 10 years now. So I feel like we're getting our Sheffield status.
hopefully, if they'll have us.
Yeah.
Honorary Sheffieldians, or whatever the phrase would be.
If they adopt us, that we'll definitely take it.
With the new single, More of the Same, I think it would be right at home, because it's only a certain period of Arctic Monkeys. It feels like it'd be right at home on AM, but it's also got that kind of idea of, or feels kind of like quite Last Shadow puppetsy, I think. And you've said when you've released this song that it's already become a bit of a live favourite when you play it. Is that always the way you do things as a band? Do you test them out? Do you play them live and see what the reaction is before you then go, right, we're going to commit this one to tape. This is going to be a single at some point?
Yeah, so usually as soon as we've written it, the first thing we'll do is can we squeeze it in like a half an hour set or something, just to kind of get a genuine consensus from the audience and stuff like that. But every time we played More of the Same before we even released it, it was like we got a great response from it, and it felt good playing it. Like it was fun to play, if you know what I mean. Like
It's got like a swag to it.
yeah, it was just like we just knew straight away. We was like, that needs to be the next single that comes out.
Does that change the relationship with a song? Because you've worked on something in the rehearsal rooms and you might like it or you might love it, or it might be something you think's decent, but maybe it's not your favourite, and then you take it to a live arena and you get a really good reaction and suddenly you go, hang on, this one's got legs.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with some of our older songs as well, like California, that's received like a really good live response to that. But in terms of More of the Same, when we played it live and you get that response from the audience, you get a stronger relationship because you like it and you know the audience are 100% in with you as well. So it becomes like a bit of a bond over a song.
You've also said about this record, and I thought this was a really interesting statement. You said it was a band-defining moment. What do you mean by that?
I think in terms of like sound-wise, I think it's probably some of our best creative work to date in terms of just guitar solos and the type of drumming that Ethan does on it. I think, especially if you listen to our first song compared to that, you can see how we've grown as musicians.
Yeah, I think all the singles this year have sort of changed. We've got a bit more used to like what our sound's going to be. I think the earlier stuff we were trying out different bits and whatnot, and I think now we're sort of really getting our own sound, which is exactly what we wanted this year. So
It feels like you're on the cusp of something at the moment, because your status has been rising, I think, steadily in Sheffield for a couple of years. You've started to build a fan base in the northwest of England now as well, so it's spreading beyond the city. Are you noticing that it's kind of hitting the wider parts of the UK now? Is it growing for you?
Yeah, I think so. It's been really nice to see. It's been like a gradual progression in terms of gaining fans and things like that, which is good because you get like a hardcore group of fans who just like listen to everything you do. As it grows, you get more and more people interacting with us on social media and listening to our tunes.
it's crazy going down to like a city like we did Liverpool a few weeks ago, and we were like looking around the audience thinking it was mainly going to be like friends and family, and there's people who you don't recognize, and then they turn around and go, they were singing like every song word for word, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. But it seems to be spreading, which is exactly what we wanted. And
just keep going, man.
we just want everyone to hear the tunes and tell us what they think, really. So
Well, it's been a couple of years now since you released If Not When. That was your EP back in 2023. Is this the first sign of a next EP that we're hearing now?
I think so. Next year, we're going to be looking at recording possibly an EP. We've not confirmed it yet or confirmed what the next sort of project will be, but I think it'd be nice to get another EP under our belts, just like another piece of work which we can share and promote and get round the UK with.
I'd say with the tunes we've written this year, we've not written them to be on the next EP. We're sort of like in a bit of a test in the water sort of transition, and then I'd love to do a new EP next year. Like the first one went down really well, and hopefully the second one just tops it again, and we just keep pushing forward. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, final bit before I let you go. I want to take you out of Sheffield for a moment. I've not asked this question in a while. I used to ask it all the time, but I've not asked it in a while. I think I might bring it back. I need you to close your eyes and imagine that you're on a desert island. So sandy beaches, tropical birds, beautiful turquoise sea, all that kind of thing, just like Sheffield, really. So the issue is on this desert island, you only have one food item with you, and that food item is crisps. So alongside you both on the desert island, there is a crate full of crisps. But the problem is, it's only full of one type of crisp and one flavour of crisp, and that has to sustain you until, and the whole band in fact, so it's got to be kind of like a joint food source. It has to sustain you until you're rescued. This is your desert island crisps. What are you going for?
I think I'd go straight away Walker's cheese and onion. I'm thinking straight away.
Oh, that's disharmony already.
I'm thinking straight away you don't want anything too salty, because all that's going to do is make you thirsty. And I don't know if we've got any water there or anything. We just got told strictly crisps.
You're thinking too logical.
I was going to say, that's a really strategic and kind of thought out. Is that you as a person? Is that how you approach life?
Yeah, probably very strategic.
You could have said a salt and shake, and then you've got the little sachet.
That's good actually. That's quite good actually.
I'd say I think Ethan would agree with me on this one. Maybe not. I'll hear his feedback after this, but I'm gonna go McCoy's Thai sweet chili.
I get some really rum old answers to that question, but they are both good quality crisps. Normally I have to say it's got to be a joint decision, but given the levels you've gone for, I'm going to let you both have. We'll do a mixed crate if you're on the desert island. You can have both of those. Boys, great to chat to you. Hope the EP does come next year, because I'm really liking the direction the tunes are going at the moment. I can't wait to hear them as a collection, but nice one for coming on Freshly Squeezed.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Jim.
We try to change, but we know it's just more of the same. It's 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 more of the same.
Dead cool, that lot. And as I kind of said in the interview, if you like AM period Arctic Monkeys, if you like Last Shadow Puppets, and they called it as well, if you like Milburn back in the day, they are a band you need to check out. So next up on Freshly Squeezed, speaking to the brilliant Issac Neilson, brand new tune Spiked is in the world now. Welcome, Issac.
Thanks for having me, Jim. It's good to chat to you.
So let's talk about this new tune. So it's called I Got Spikes, and it's from personal experience, this one, isn't it? What made you want to tell this story?
Ooh, this song has had a massive journey. And at the time when I first started writing it, it just sort of started becoming a bit of a zeitgeist in the culture, where it was really sort of culturally relevant. And I hadn't seen anyone sort of translate that into the songwriting concept. And then one night I went out on a night out with my mates, and I was unlucky enough to get spiked. And it was like, it provoked a lot of feelings for me, because I was really fortunate that by the time it all kicked in and I was like spiraling out of control, I was back at a friend's flat, and then you sort of have this sort of nausea and you don't know what's going on. On reflection, you go, God, people have been through this, and it's like ended in a much more sinister, predatory situation. And I was like, this is something I really want to delve into. It was an interesting exercise as a songwriter, because initially the first few drafts were just from my perspective, recounting the experience, but I didn't think that was narratively that intriguing, because it was very linear. So the version of Spike that has ultimately been dropped into the world has a sort of 2-point perspective, which contrasts between my experience and flips between how I've gone through it and that of the spiker and their intentions. And I drew a lot from Every Breath You Take by The Police.
Oh, yeah.
Which is because that song's sort of written from the narrative perspective of being a stalker, but it sort of only, it becomes obvious if you actually sort of dig into the lyrics. You can have a dual reading of it if you're paying less attention. And I think when that married into the production, it sort of became a bit more complex as a narrative. So that was sort of the exercise from a writing perspective of what I was trying to achieve.
When you do write about something that has happened in your personal life, how does that timeline work? Do you kind of come away from something that you've experienced or something you've done, and is it an instant for you, oh, this is something I can write about? Or does that tend to come later after a period of reflection where you kind of go, actually, this could be a genesis for something?
This is a really interesting one, because I think it can be, this could sound so pretentious, but I'm going to say it anyway, because I think it could be true. It's a bit like if you've ever had a dream and you're like, that was a weird dream. And then a month later it hits you and you go, oh, this was the concept. And there's a sort of time can dilute experiences, or time can intensify them with reflection. Because as you like, if you have a relationship that ends a year later, you can only sort of contextualize what it actually meant because you have to have distance from that period of time to sort of reconcile how it fits into the whole narrative as a chapter of your life. And I think with songwriting, it can be very much the same, where if I capture something immediately within like days to a week of the experience, the content and context is going to be radically different to that of something that's years separated. So like this Spike song, I started writing it in 2021. It's been a while in the works because other things just, come and gone, and I wanted to get it right. So the content, which is more personal to my experience, was written back then, whereas the sort of dual narrative thing is something that came in the back end of last year. The sort of detached perspective that's coming through on this one, at least that's how I hope it is. I don't think if I'd written it in one sitting, I would have been able to get that. And it's kind of jarring, but artistically, I want this to feel jarring and uncomfortable because that is the experience it's trying to bring across.
On the two narratives thing, on the two voices that are in there, obviously you've got that within the story, but also within the song itself, there's kind of two musical personalities in it, I guess. One is almost this spoken word rap element, feels very controlled, and you've got this kind of rockier part to it as well, which feels a little wild. Were those two musical gears your way of kind of bringing those personalities, those two different voices into the song?
I think it sort of emerged like that. If I look at the structure, the sort of verses are me, the pre-choruses are the spiker, and then the sort of stabs are also the spiker, and then the double time chorus is me. There's a sort of conversational thing that's like vivid and surreal because you wouldn't have that sort of dialogue between these two characters in the real life of it. But there's sort of the contrast of the intensity. What I was going for with that is the verses are sort of a realization and a revelation of it kicking in and reflections on it. There's a sort of calmness, but it's confused. Like things are starting to fall apart, but the walls haven't broken down yet. And then once the spikers sort of reflections, which I wrote in the second person, where it really gets heavy, that is the wheels are coming off now. And it was trying to sort of present that sort of slow descent into chaos, because it's like it's all very slow and then all suddenly at once. It's like if you drink too much and you're just like, oh no, I'm going to throw up now. It's sort of lurching.
Both those two elements, the spoken word and the kind of like rocky side, they both feel very different to your usual stuff, and you compare it to your last release, Day to the Daydream. It feels very different to that, which had a real kind of indie pop thing going on.
Yes.
Is that in your musical character? Do you like to mix it up and just try these different things, or is this an outlier?
So generally speaking, I want to explore everything. The sort of hopping thing is interesting because you can get comfortable within the sort of same patterns of going, all right, I'm going to write this song and it's going to be this way, and then I'm just going to write the same sort of song 10 times over and then call it an album. But that doesn't feel particularly stimulating or challenging. But I would definitely say this track is the start of an aesthetic shift that is going to be more cohesive and consistent going forward. I've got a boatload of tracks that are going to be coming up, and they are more fitting in with the aesthetic of this song. But ultimately, it's just the song should serve itself. As long as it works as a self-contained idea, I'm happy with it.
Well, we look forward to hearing the new stuff when it comes, and this is a precursor to that. We'll play I Got Spiked in a moment. Before we do, I just want to talk briefly about something that's been going on your Instagram feed for a little while now, called your Random Musical Meetups. I think you're best off explaining exactly what this is.
Okay. So I've been experimenting a lot with content and strategy and how to sort of get myself out there. So every day almost, I've been turning up at a random venue, putting up a post and I'm going to be here for this amount of time. Let's see who turns up. And every day after that, I put a post up that no one's turned up. And this is like, do I want to reveal all of it? There's a bit of a trope with independent artists on social media, which is we've got a huge announcement. This is going to be a massive thing. So excited. This big announcement coming tomorrow at 6 p.m. There's this sort of whole trope of social media as a highlight reel. It's all like pictures of like, here's me in front of a Ferrari. Isn't life amazing? Shouldn't you feel sad that your life isn't as good as mine? Everything's going amazing. And this is a bit of a play of an inversion on that because, everyone's sort of touting their success, but I've sort of noticed that one, that isn't realistic. That's not what life's like. And if you're like being a sort of small artist trying to grow something, that is not the reality of what you experience to build a project is not what you present online. And I got a bit bored of that. And I've noticed that like if you're willing to fail publicly on repeat, but with a smile on, people seem to be more drawn to that because that's how life is. So I'm sort of trying to do an anti-independent band sort of campaign thing. And it's been really interesting, the responses I've got from it. I've had a lot of support and it's kind of funny. It could be a little bit misleading if you don't understand it because a lot of the places I'm playing, there are people there. Like I'm performing to people, but it's whether or not people answer the call as I post the thing that's relevant.
Does it come to an end when someone turns up and kind of goes, "Hi, Isaac, I'm here. I want to claim my free drink"?
I'm not willing to reveal. I'm going to invoke the Fifth Amendment on this, but there is a larger vision to this stupid experiment.
I'm not going to ask any more questions on it because I want to believe it's all 100% real and genuine, and I want to be surprised when that final thing comes to fruition, whatever it is as well. But Isaac, really nice chat to you. Really enjoying the new tune. Looking forward to what's coming next as well. But cheers for coming on Freshly Squeezed.
Hey, thanks, Jim. I love what you've been doing with the podcast, and it's a pleasure to be part of it. Thank you.
Life like in the depths, this vessel's dead and done. Can feel it all weird, limbs frozen on. The sounds trickling, the boys pick me up. Black pills giving hell, got me under its thumb. Relentless screams coloured in silence, scraped up. Power lust unwound us, round us. Acceptance is the way consoled. System failure, place me carved up cold. Your walls are jittering, your lifelines giving in. Survival instinct blistering, your conscious mother. Don't you cry, you're so tainted. Got me spiked, dead and vacant. Mind eraser, you got me real tonight. Caught on your razor, my lips have sealed.
More from Isaac online. You can check the links in the podcast description to find more of his music, and you can head over to his Instagram page as well to see how he's doing in his random musical meetup quest. Fingers crossed someone turns up soon. This is Freshly Squeezed. Next up, we're featuring an artist from down south, Harry Eley, on the pod. Welcome, mate.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start off with the important stuff. How's Guildford at the moment, and is Harper's nightclub still there?
Is Harper? I have never heard of Harper's nightclub. I've never heard of that, so I would assume not, because I've had a good time here so far, and I would definitely have heard of that.
The reason I ask this is because Guildford, I'm in Manchester now. Guildford was my old stomping ground. The Harper's nightclub was the place that I spent a lot of my time.
It's the place to be.
It was not the place to be, no, in any way, but it was.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's where I ended up. But from my memory of Guildford as a place, there wasn't much of an indie rock scene when I was growing up there. Has that changed now? And what's it like for an emerging artist like yourself playing music in that part of the world?
So there's some really, really cool venues around Guildford. There's the Boiler Room, which I had the pleasure of playing at last Tuesday, and they've kind of housed some really big artists. They've actually had like Sam Fender when he was young,
cool.
Declan McKenna. So there's quite a few like grassroots venues in Guildford. There's also the Holroyd Arms, which I've played at. I guess they've just kind of built it up over time. But where I study at uni now, at ACM, it's just the centre of kind of emerging artists, in any type of music, and they've just been building up. Musicians have been coming through, and it's been great to see. And there's just a lot more musicians in Guildford at the minute.
Do you find it inspiring being surrounded by that many people who are making music? Are you able to kind of absorb what they're doing, take bits of other people's work, find that as a springboard into your own stuff?
Absolutely. It is inspiring, and it's also kind of motivating to see other bands kind of play. And, if you see a really good performance, it makes you want to be a better musician, I've found. So, yeah, it's inspiring, but it also motivates me to kind of just be as good as that band that I've seen before. Yeah, so I really enjoy it. And there are some really cool bands around. So, it's really good to see.
How much pain went into picking the songs that are on your new EP? Because that's a big moment for any artist releasing their first proper collection of music.
It was really hard to pick those songs. pick the right songs for an EP, because I've got a back catalogue of a lot of songs that I do want to push out there, and it was really challenging to find the right songs, but some of them I was dying to get them out there. For example, Stop the War. I really like that song, and I've had some really good feedback from people about it. So it's like, that's got to be in the EP. So it's just kind of decisions like that. You kind of listen to what you've got, and you just choose, strategically, and you just get it out there.
So Stop the War, that's the new single you just mentioned from that collection of music. My assumption, seeing the title, was that it was going to be this political record, but the subject matter is very different in terms of when you actually listen to it. Was that a deliberate misdirection in having that kind of title and then the juxtaposition of that and what the subject of the song is actually about?
I don't know if it was deliberate. Obviously, it's for me, well, it depends how anyone perceives it, but for me, it's a war in a relationship, and it is quite a misleading title. You do see it, and people are like, "Oh wow, he's going political here." Even my producers, when I first told him what the song was called, but it's not deliberately done like that. No, but people will be curious. They'll want to know. I think it's a cool title in that sense. Like Stop the War, is this a political song? You play it, you hear it, and then you're like, no. But I think people will pick up on what it's about just from the lyrics and stuff.
You mentioned it's about a relationship. There's a second voice on the tune as well, kind of playing both parts of it.
Yes, yeah.
Is that reflective of the writing process? Was this your song and then you went seeking a second voice, or was it something that you wrote in collaboration?
Yeah, so I had written the song earlier this year, and I met Millie, my good friend who's singing on the track. I met her at a club, actually, funnily enough.
Not Harper's, though.
And we... Not Harper's, no. And we just got to talking, and she said she was, a singer, and I don't know how it just kind of happened. And literally, I met her on a Friday, and she came around on a Sunday, and we sat there and wrote her bit. I kind of said, I was just playing the instrumental bits, and she was just sat there with a notepad and pen and just wrote down the verse there and then. And I gave her the context to the tune, and I think she did a really good job. And I was really happy with how it ended. I thought it was really cool, and I knew from that moment I was like, this is a song that I want to get out there.
While the colors washed away, and I know it's not right, but I wanna stay. Can't keep staring out of place, but I know deep down I need to find my own way. Stop the war.
Is that typical of the way you work? 'Cause I think being a solo artist, it can be a fairly lonely road you tread, but that opportunity to collaborate, is that something you do often?
I'm always collaborating with the band, the guys that are playing with me, my drummer, my guitarist, in the keys. Always I'm looking for, because they're, the drummer, I don't know a lot about drums, so he's always going to have kind of a better idea than I am. So I guess there's collaboration in that sense, but I bring the song, like the roots, really, and that's just me just writing in my room, really, just messing about on the guitar comes first for me, and then I find the lyrics, and that's just how it goes, and then I bring it in and just share some ideas, and we normally end up with a tune at the end of it. So the process that I've got is working quite well.
As I said, Stop the War, it's off the new EP. The new EP is called Me. Again, reading into the title, you assume it's going to be introspective, autobiographical record. Is that the case? Are these songs about you? Are you your own muse?
I would say so. Yeah. Me is supposed to represent kind of how I feel, but I also think, just kind of most teenagers, really. It's all about writing what you know. For me, it is quite a personal record. There's a song called Half the Problem on there, and that song really, that kind of reflects how I felt at a low point. But there's Thinking of You, which is quite a buzzy song, which is quite it is just how I felt throughout my life, and I'm sure that other people my age might be able to relate to that, because we're all loosely in the same boat.
Harry, lovely to talk to you. We'll link to the EP in the podcast description so people can find more if they want to, but we're going to play Stop the War on Freshly Squeezed. Nice one for coming on.
Thank you, mate. Cheers. Been a pleasure.
Well, I heard something new today. Something old but something sane. Something that just makes me think that I should just finish with you. The tales of our fight, the black and the white,
his new EP, Me, if you want to hear more from Harry. Links in the podcast description. He wraps up today's Freshly Squeezed. 3 brilliant artists again. You just heard from Harry. We've got Issac Neilson a little bit earlier, CRUZ a bit before that, and as always, there are links to find out more. Well, you know where to look. I just told you. Were you not paying attention? That is it for this week's episode. If you've got a musical tip, a suggestion, a recommendation, I'm all ears. I'd love to hear them. You can do it in a number of ways. You can leave a review on the podcast, wherever you're listening. Just drop a review in your favourite app and I'll pick up your recommendations there. Or you can get in touch via social media. On X, if you're still using that, it's Mr_Jimbob and it's Mr. Jimbob's Eyes on Instagram. I will set up some Freshly Squeezed accounts at some point. Nice one for listening. We're back next week. Cheers for your ears.
The award-winning Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and additional production by Ant McKinley. Theme music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.